This is the video to help you with the second extra credit series on Microsoft Excel. I'm assuming you downloaded the E.XLSX spreadsheet, and you've also at least taken a look at the E.Doc lab procedure and explanation on which I'm going to be demonstrating. Please observe that there are three spreadsheets here, A, B, and C. And I'm going to ask you to create a third, an additional spreadsheet, a summary page. You can do that with Shift F11 or with the techniques from your textbook. So you have your extra sheet here, and we're going to, as the textbook did, rename it so it has the appropriate name, which is going to be summary. On the summary sheet, we're going to begin by producing a table containing the sums pointing in this direction along that hypothetical cube. Remember, I talked about a cube. Before we actually set up the sums in the individual spreadsheets A, B, and C with group, I'm going to go ahead and create my title. And then I can, and then as the textbook indicated, I can go ahead and make this a merge and center title. Well, I'm not sure why it's not merging and centering. In any event, I'm going to go through and I'm going to group the three entries A, B, and C and put the column total over here. And remember the formula for that. And I can use the fill handle here to move the formula down. And if we look at any one of these individual entries, we will see that the entries in D are the sum of the row to its left. Now we are ready to create our summary table. And I have to think about what we are doing. We are going to be pulling up entries from the left-hand sheet, which I'm going to call A. And I'm going to be pulling up entries from the column D, where I just created those sums. And if you look on the example, we will see that 6 is the correct number. And this is going to be moving along. And observe that in this particular row, I am using the second row from each of the spreadsheets. And observe that in the columns, I am giving a new sheet. So each of these, this column here corresponds to sheet A. This column here is sheet B. This column here is sheet C. Now, another thing to be careful of is I had you play around with sheet number C and change this number. So whether you do that or not will affect what numbers you get on your summary sheet. So these numbers may not correspond to the final summary table, depending on what numbers you have in sheets A, B, and C. So just think about what numbers you have and go ahead and check them. By the way, we can go to formulas and show formulas to understand what's going on. So this is column A, this is column B, and this is column C. And see that each row represents another row on the entries. I'm not quite sure why it's putting quotes around C and not around A and B, since they're all single letter names. Now we are going to set up to create the sums going up the cube, and looking at that cube from the bottom. In order to do that, I need column sums on each of sheets A, B, and C. So I'm going to go ahead and group them to so that I can do that on all at once on one sheet. So I just come over here. This is going to be the sum of column A. And then I can use the fill handle trick that we learned in the Excel labs from the textbook to get these three sums. And again, I can click on any one of them, any one of the three main sheets, A, B, and C, and see that I have the correct column sums. Now I'm ready to create my summary table. And you can, of course, take a little bit of time and pretty this up. These labs, unlike the textbook's labs, are really focusing on the formulas, not making things look nice. I'm not going to get in an argument here as to which of those issues is more important. So here we are. And now we're going to group three sheets. And now I create my entries. Now the row here is going to be along the fourth row of sheet A. So that there. And then I use the fill handles to move over. So this will be the second column of that sheet, the third column of that sheet. This will be the same thing, but for the sheet name. It comes from B. And that gives us the data. And I'm going to take us out of show formula mode so you can see the numbers. The last table is looking, if you will, from here and going through A, B, and C, what I call the Z-axis. And again, you can pretty up that title if you care to. So we don't need to create any sum or column totals on each sheet. We just simply have to write the formula here. To get the first element from each sheet. And then, even though we had to write a big long formula here, we only have to do it once because the handy-dandy little fill handles will get us the correct number for here. Whoops, went too far up. And that completes the procedure part of Microsoft Excel Lab E. You will see a series of 3 homework assignments, EA, EB, and EC, which I think you'll be able to figure out yourself.